Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the Tangzu Shimin Li. This is the second IEM from Tangzu, formerly known as T-Force, and the continuation of this theme that they are using of naming the IEMs after dynasties or after important people in Chinese history. And well, the Shimin Li is the second one in this let's say this scheme of launches which they have programmed. There's going to be a planar coming up very soon, maybe even during the month of July, and perhaps even further down the line, an even cheaper single DD. But anyway, what is most important is what we have in front of us right here. And as you can see, well, by the title of the video, Shimin Li versus the world, I think you can straight away see what I meant. I'm just going to take you through the box first and then talk about what we have in front of you so we can set the stage and then explain things better. Two boxes of Shimin Li, very simple, both colors, the silver and the gold. Okay, as for the box itself, simple affair. I mean, kind of follows more or less the idea which was started out with the Yuan Li, which I have over there, but it's not a nice box. And obviously the price is a reflection of that. The Yuan Li was priced at, and these prices still at around between $100 and $115, depends on the vendor. And this is, we're talking about $35 roughly. Anyway, when you open up the box, you're greeted with the IEMs over here. You remove this, okay, and inside there is a cable which I'll show you, and inside there comes the accessories, which are namely the tips, which seem to be clones of BGVP or KB Ear 07 and 08 tips. Very good quality, and that's why they are being used on both of them. There was no point in swapping them out. It just didn't make any sense. The tips are more than good. I tried out a few of them just to see what changes there would be in the frequency response, and these white medium ones are the ones which, at least in my opinion, make the most sense. Anyway, the box, as you can see, looks pretty and everything, and brings decent accessories and so on, but a box is a box, and that's that. Tips over there. Okay. As for the IEMs themselves, well, straight away, let me start with the cable. It's not that the cable is bad, no, it isn't, but it just has very much life of its own, and it can tangle quite easily. It doesn't, it feels good. It's got a really nice feel on this kind of rubberish finish that they've given on it. The plugs themselves are very nice. I mean, good quality, really nice. I mean, on the same quality of any aftermarket, basically any aftermarket cable of around $30-40 easily. All right, it's just this, you see, you leave it and it just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of got the same issues as the cable of the Tanchjim Ola. The shell, metal shell, it's got a nice weight to it. It is exactly the same shell as the Yuan Li. Okay, what has changed is the faceplate. And if you don't believe me, let me grab both right sides. Okay, focus. All right, you tell me who is who. Okay, see, exactly the same. Exactly the same shell, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. It means that the shell was able to be a good, good quality shell was able to be sourced by them. What changes is the faceplate, as you can see. The Yuan Li uses a more clean, more subtle approach. The Shimin Li uses this also subtle approach with these like kind of textured designs and everything. But as you can see, when I say it's the same shell, it's the same shell. 2-pin connector, so no secret there. Let me just put this in its place. There we go. So Fits pretty well. Didn't really have any complaints. What I did notice, or what I will say about it, is that it is slightly tip dependent in terms of how it fixes itself. So you have to make sure that you choose the correct tip for you to guarantee that it stays put. Isolation, once you've got the right tip, is pretty decent, like I said. And although it's got a nice weight to it, it's in no way fatiguing or becomes fatiguing after any period of time of listening to them. So overall, hardware wise and fit wise and comfort and isolation and so on, I give the Shimin Li top marks. They've really done their work. Yeah. Anyway, that's that part out of the way. Now, Shimin Li faces the world. Well, why does it face the world? Well, there are some IEMs here which are recent, some IEMs here are more antique, let's put it that way. Alright, on the top there, I've got the Yuanli, and I've got the Yuanli just for the sake of comparing the Shimin Li to its older brother. Alright, then we've got an oldie there, this corner here, let me just grab it, which is the Tanchjim Ola, okay, and this and a stock Shiminli, they graph the same. And when I mean the same, is the differences are minimal, really minimal. It's actually quite a surprise. Obviously, this has got no way near the same quality in terms of construction as the Shiminli. It's plastic, it's flimsy, it's fixed cable. You can still get them, and they're actually more expensive than the Shiminli. But I just thought I'd put it here because I was surprised when when I graphed the Shimin Li. Once you've been graphing so many IEMs as I've done, you start it starts sticking to your mind. Hey, this looks familiar. So I started looking around, and lo and behold, here was the guilty party, the Cora. How was the Cora? Well, I guess for its time it was fine in terms of sound, but by today's standards, although it graphs, almost identical to the Shiminli, the fit doesn't allow it to go nicely into your ear, at least with me. So it's it lacks some bass impact. It's one of those cases where, although graphically there's tremendous similarities, when you actually listen to it, it's different, okay? And the Shiminli is superior to the Cora. The other one, well, is one which we would expect me to have here, which is the Moondrop shoe. Sturdy construction, basically half the price, has a fixed cable, and overall it made sense for me to put it here because the same way that Tangzu tried with the Shimin Li to take a departure from that sound signature, which was the one established by the Yuan Li, which was a nice smooth sub bass into mid bass, transitioning into the mids, peaking it around 3.5K with a nice smooth pinna gain, and then dropping off, and then with some extension, making it a super relaxed IM to listen to, for lengthy periods of times. Moondrop with the True tried to give us the same sound signature that you get in the Aria and in the Kato, the VDSF sound signature, but with a little bit less bass. And yes, it does have a little bit less bass. And compared to the Tangzu, I will give it better extension. I will give it more clarity in that upper register. The Shimin Li is a little bit darker in that area. And the bass, although lighter, it somehow matches very nicely with the rest of the frequency response and actually makes the sound, at least in my case and in my ears, half engaging. I mean, it's decent. Yes. if you are looking for a mature sound signature at this price, it's a no-brainer. It's the IEM to go for $20. You cannot get, or you cannot find an IEM which has a more mature sound signature than this. The one that was attempting that prior to the True coming out was a Tanchjim Ola, and that was twice the price, and is twice the price, and it's got flimsy construction by comparison to this. So yes, definitely the True is a go-to IEM if what you want is a nice, polite, correct, let's say kind of signature. All right. Compared to the Tangzu, it's got its pluses and it's got its minuses. Its pluses obviously are the price, which is cheaper. Minuses the cable being fixed. Another plus will be that better extension up top. Another minus will be lacking a little bit of bass impact as compared to the Shiminli. The Shiminli has got very nice bass, contrary to what a lot of people might have thought. The difference, well, the bass is basically the same bass as on the Yuan-Li. The difference between these two is that there is then much tamer past 1K, and this is more in your face. It's a more bright IEM. Okay. Then we have the Ola. Okay. There's two Olas here, and I'll explain. This is a stock one, and in stock format, it's clean, it's detailed, but it's a boring IEM. It's a boring IEM because it just doesn't. It's an IEM that Tanchjim, in my opinion, attempted to make a very correct, very mature sounding signature, but they failed. They failed because they went too lean in the bass. Too lean. It starts rolling off basically after 100 hertz. It starts really rolling off. Come on, people. You take away that part of the sound so much, and you're gonna detract from the mids. What the mids should be sounding like. Vocals are gonna suffer. Instruments are gonna suffer. Timbre, tonality. So however, this, if you modify it, so if you do what I've done to this one, which is you can go one of two ways. You can double the dampers that it has, which is going to be difficult because it would mean you have to get another one. Or then you can use an Olina damper, or then the easiest route is you find a 450 or 500 grade damper. Okay, and you put it on the 450, I would say, 400, 450, I would say, are probably the better options, the ones which will probably satisfy the most people. And besides that, you then put a little Y2, I don't know if you can see it there, on the vent you put a Y2 filter there. See if I can clean it up. There we go, see there, on the vent, front vent, you put a Y2 filter. What this basically does is it cleans up the upper end that was already quite nice. Past 1K there was really a nice shape on the curve and the sound, and so it cleans that up even further, plateaus it even nicer, but then it gives bass which was lacking tremendously in the stock one, and allows that bass to then properly complement the rest. Yes, it becomes a totally different IEM, but in my opinion it becomes an IEM that just you can listen to it. And for $45, the reality is this: for $45 in stock format, it just makes no sense. The Shimin Li, with some of the little, let's say, negative points that it has, it walks, in my opinion, it walks over the Ola. The Ola stands. Stock Ola versus the stock Shimin Li, it's no contest. Okay. However, a modified Ola, okay, if you have an Ola and you modify it, that's a different story, right? And for now, I'll leave it like that. Then we have, I could have included way more, but I've just put two of the latest KZ offerings because I believe these ones are the ones that make more sense as well in this context. KZ EDX, the balanced version, and KZ EDA balanced version, and KZ EDX Ultra. These two have very, very big similarities in terms of the overall signature. The biggest difference is the peak that this one has at around 5 point something K is reduced quite significantly on the Ultra to be almost flat. And the extension, which lacks somewhat past 9-10K on this one, there's that extension there. So there's a very similar bass signature, very highly similar up to about 1K, and then past 1K, this one is nice and smooth. The Ultra is nice and smooth and carries on. There's no real peaks, nothing. It's really nice. And the EDA, the balanced, has got a few peaks and doesn't have as much extension. In terms of sound, these are the ones which play the loudest out of all of these, I would say. They don't need much power. The build quality is half decent. Again, the price is a reflection of that. We're talking about between $20 and $22. Same thing for the Ultra, maybe a little bit more, sometimes about $25. Very engaging IEMs, super fun to listen to. I mean, honestly, great tonality in my opinion, great timbre. They're the biggest flaw is perhaps the technicalities, which, I mean, you got a decent sound stage, you got a decent imaging, but you cannot expect the world out of IEMs which are at this price. But like I said, very fun, very engaging, great tonality, great timbre, good vocals. Personally, I prefer the Ultra. I think the Ultra, because it manages to control more that peak at around 5 watt something hertz, is just out of the there's four versions right now. We have the EDA, we have the EDX Ultra, we have the CCA plus, the CRA plus, my apologies, and then we have the ES6, which is the latest one. Out of all of them, I would say the Ultra is my favorite. Okay, not because I really said it was my favorite when I reviewed it against the CRA plus and the EDA, but I think it's still the one that's the best. The ES6, I'm going to be having a review on it. We'll talk about that afterwards. On this side, what do I have? Right at the top there, I've got the HD Soundheart mirror. Again, I've got a stock one and a modified one. Stock one, HD Soundheart mirror, what is it known for? It's known for having these amazing upper, mids and upper frequency, or really good, great extension up top. Some people complained about the technicalities not being that great and so on and so forth. I don't think so. I actually think the technicalities are not bad at all. Great detailed retrieval. It doesn't have, at least I don't think it's got splashy treble, or no. Although it's pretty detailed and pretty bright, it always maintains its composure quite nicely. And the only real complaint was people was saying that bass quantity was lacking. Well, it's as simple as doing what I did to this one. You add, you can start with a Y2 or Y3, depends what you want. This one's actually got a Y3. You put a Y3 filter on this, and it's automatically becomes a totally different beast. It straight away gains a good 6 dBs in the bass in terms of bass quantity. But the interesting thing is, by gaining all that bass, it doesn't really make things muffled or become muddy or anything of the sort. No, it actually improves because all that cleanliness, all that energy that you have in upper frequencies now has this impact, this stump to back it up. So everything just comes together in a way nicer way. Then we have, one which is a venerable and probably one of the most popular IEMs of all time, Blon 03, stock, absolutely stock, and my recent project, the LUCKLZ, like I call it. Okay, this one is probably the one that is the most difficult to modify out of all the IEMs I've got here, because it actually involves opening it up. I have another version of the heart mirror which I modified as well, which also implies opening it up. So all of these IEMs here, the ones that are modified, are all mods which are reversible, because they are done with regards to the vent on the front vent of the driver and the nozzle. Okay, the one that is still a reversible mod, but it implies you having to open it up, is the Blockoxygen. The Blockoxygen is the one you have to open it up. Blon, we already know everything about the Blon. Great mids, supposedly tuned by the same person that did the oxygen, so maybe some of that mojo rubbed off. Great mids. Okay, some people complained about the bass being a little bit muddy and being too bloated. Personally, I don't think so. Personally, I think it's decent. It's fine. It plays well. Some people complain about harshness in the highs. Yes, it can get a little bit harsh sometimes, but overall the sound, the tonality of the Blon is very engaging, and that's why it's as popular as it's always been. The Blockoxygen, well, this is a totally different beast. The mods that I did on it, which are opening it up and changing a vent internally and then changing the vent of the actual nozzle, this thing is this is going to be a really bold statement. It's on the level of the Olina. Okay, this for me, as it is here, it's on the level of a Chapoan Olina, and I challenge, well, not challenge, but I suggest those that might be skeptical about it to just do the mod. If you have it, do the mod. I'll tell you what the mod is, do it, and then you can get back to me and tell me what you think. But this is on the level of the Olina. And finally, Reecho SG01. The SG01, the original one, and then this is the OVA edition. This is in stock format, the SG01. The SG01 in stock format is basically a Blon, let's put it that way, with a little bit less mid-bass impact, a little bit or that mid-bass bloat, let's put it that way, and a little bit extra area, energy in the area between 1.5, 2K and about 6K. There's a little bit more energy there, so it opens up the sound slightly more, makes it pretty engaging, pretty fun. If you like one, you like the other. I think they overall they are very similar. This over here has been modified as well, and the stock nozzle filter has been changed for an oxygen. And what that basically has done is that it's taken away those peaks that it has at 2 and 5K roughly. Well, not 5, it's a little bit less than that. But it's taken away those peaks that the SG01 has and kind of given it a curve which is very similar to the oxygen curve, so it's flattened it out nicely. And it's tightened up the bass. That's the biggest thing that you notice, is it's tightened up the bass. As far as I know, it's exactly the same drivers between the two of them. And in stock format, these two graphed exactly the same. There was absolutely no difference. Now as this one stands, yes, it's got a little bit more bass, ultimate sub bass than the stock one. And like I said, the mids and so on have changed their profile. So yeah, as you can see, Tangzu and the Shimin Li have their work cut out. As I told you in the beginning, I've got two here, and there's a reason. This is absolutely stock, and this one has been subjected to a little mod of mine. And the mod I did was basically take out the stock filter, or nozzle filter, take it out, which is very easy. It's not you can undo this mod if you want quite easily, and then put in its place a 500 grade filter. Okay, so what has that? What does that basically mean by doing that? Well, just 1 second, and I will show you here a graph so that you can see what I mean. No. None of this. My apologies. This basically, see if I can find the graph here. No. Well, anyway, I'll find it in a second, and then I'll show you. What is the sound of the Shiminli? The sound of the Shiminli is a more high energy version of what the Yuan Li was capable of. in the sense that all that area of the vocals, so upper mids, so the area around, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 has been boosted. It's all been boosted. There are two peaks around 2 and around 5K more or less. And by boosting all of that that area there, yes, you've made an IEM which is more forward. Is, you know, female vocals are more forward and so on and so forth, and that can be easier to drive with lower powered devices. However, it comes at a cost that it doesn't scale as ideally as I would like. And when you start pushing the volume, it kind of falls apart. It falls apart because things don't go, not all the frequencies increase in the same balanced way, and it becomes slightly shouty. So you start noticing that those peaks there that it has, they start getting to you. They start really nagging you and hitting you hard, and that fatigues the listen. You know, you get to a point where you just say to yourself, no, I don't want to listen to this anymore, because it's not fun. It's not being fun anymore. It's bugging me. It's hurting me. Okay. Here we go. Oh, I knew I had the graph. Yeah. Sorry about that. So as I was telling you, so stock is a purple line, and as you can see, just past 2K, you got a peak, and just before 5K, you also got a peak there. And it's that extra energy that's present there, which is, it's look, probably a lot of people will not be bothered by it, and it won't bug them. You know, they'll think, oh wow, that's fine, it's nice, it gives me all that nice energy that I like to listen in the music that I usually listen to. Personally, for me, it does get a little bit bugging. And by adding the 500 grade filter, which is the green line, I've basically lowered the peak at 2 point something, okay, and shifted it over to 3K, and then there's a nice decay, you know, peaking again at around at around 8K, which is a couple related thing, and the rest basically remains the same. So what has happened is the Shimin Li has just tamed itself down slightly, and for me personally, it's become a much more pleasing, signature, much more pleasing listen. Disclaimer, just for those of you that might be thinking about doing this, this does void the warranty. Personally, I don't know why it would void the warranty, because you're just taking out a nozzle filter and exchanging it. I mean, HC Sound Hardware, they include extra nozzle filters. Chapo and Olina comes with extra filters. Tanchjim Oxygen comes with extra filters. Hana, Tanya, they come with extra filters, and that doesn't void the warranty by exchanging them. So I really don't know why Shiminli would, why would Tangzu, with the Shiminli in this case, why they would void the warranty, since you're not being offensive to the IEM in any way. You're not opening it up. You're not being evasive. What is being done is something which is easily reversible. But they are the ones that call the shots, and that's it. So all of this talk and all of this to say what? Shiminli, it's got great bass. It's nice. It's decently tight. On the modified one, you do notice that because there's now a little bit less energy, that bass comes across even cleaner, even tighter. While sometimes in the stock one it can seem slightly thin. Okay. Transitions into the mids and for me fine. I mean, vocals are fine in stock format. The ones that start just losing themselves are the female vocals, which start losing themselves earlier. Male vocals, they're okay. Again, because of that energy that it has, it sometimes makes them a little bit less throaty, less thick, let's put it that way, as would be required. But overall, the male vocals are fine, I think. And then the highs, they've got enough extension, let's put it that way. The highs of the Shiminli have got enough extension. There's no sibilance. There is a little bit of sibilance, around 4, 5. There is some sibilance there, but that sibilance is really only noticeable when you start pushing the volume. And it's when you push the volume that, because it doesn't scale well and because it kind of starts falling apart, then yes, you do notice some more significant sibilance. But it's more, for me, like I was saying, the falling apart of it just makes the Shiminli start to shout. And it's not really that it's sibilant, it's just very, there's too much of it, and you just get tired of it quickly. And that's the reason why I modified it. And in modified, it's totally different story. There's no shoutiness, no graininess in the mids, no graininess in the treble. Everything is very, it's still clean, but it scales better. You can push it more, and knowing that it's not gonna kill you at any moment. Technicalities wise, the soundstage is relatively small. It's not very wide. It's got decent height, but decent depth, but it's just not wide, in my opinion. You don't get that sensation of left and right like you do with certain songs in other of these IMs being very present. It's there, but it's imaging. It's okay. It's fine, I guess, for the price. Detail retrieval again is acceptable. I think the biggest negative point for the Shiminli is with regards to tonality and timbre. I just feel that it's just off. It's with the modified one, with the 500 grade filter, it has nice timbre. It's got nice tonality. The instruments sound realistic. They sound what they should sound like. Unmodified, just they sound fake. Let's put it that way. Okay, it's not that they sound bad, but they just sound fake. I guess that's the best way I can actually try and explain it. So yeah, I guess that's basically gives you a general idea of the Shiminli. It's a nice sounding, nicely built IEM, decent accessories, good price, $30 odd dollars, not even $35. It's a really good price for it. It's its fallback, in my opinion, for me at least, and for the music I listen to, is that it has that energy there at 2 point something K, and then again at 4 point something, which is just a little bit too much as compared to the rest of the frequency spectrum, and it can be a little bit fatiguing. It can start getting to you after a while of listening to music, especially if you like listening to music a little bit louder than usual, and you just, I don't know. How does it then rank with such a huge array of IEMs? Well, with regards to its brother, the Yuanli, for me, the Yuanli still remains a better IEM in every aspect. There's absolutely nothing in my opinion, in my humble opinion, there's absolutely nothing that the Shiminli does better than the Yuanli. Nothing. Technicalities there are decent. Sound there is very unfatiguing. It's you listen to it. If it's a better IEM, in my opinion. Doesn't have to be other people's opinion. With regards to the likes of the Tanchjim Ola, for example, stock, Ola is no contest. Modified, even more. Modified Shimin Li versus modified Ola, I'd still take the Shimin Li, especially because the fit here is much better than the fit there. The fit there is just atrocious. Secondly, because it's cheaper than that. And thirdly, because it offers better sound quality, a better build quality. So yeah, that's it. Against Cora, let's forget that. It's not even there's no comparison. Against the Moondrop beats this in its mids. It beats this in its high frequency, and even though it can sometimes lose it up top, and it doesn't have the greatest bass in the world as well, I still think that it although sound wise it does have characteristics which are better to the Shiminli, overall the package that the Shiminli offers in terms of build quality, and especially the modified one. Once you do that small mod, it makes more sense to go for this than for that. That's my opinion. Okay, I do think that yes, if ultimately budget is an issue, then just stick with the shoe. But if you're gonna go a little bit further and go for the Shiminli and then do this little simple mod, like I said, it's a better IEM than the Chew. If you're gonna leave them stock, I would say the Chew is perhaps a more wise choice. Okay, I definitely would. As regards to the KZ brothers, this is a tough one because build quality of the KZ is not that it's bad, but it's plastic. It's a plastic resin as composed to metal. Sound-wise, way more composed than the Shiminli in stock format, even the EDA, way more composed. Better extension here than the EDA, than the Shiminli on the EDA. Very nice bass, very nice bass. Great timbre, great tonality. Ultra just takes those qualities of the EDA one step further, and although it's not that I have any issues with saying what I'm about to say, but the EDA Ultra for me personally is a better IEM than the Shiminli. Okay, it really just loses to the Shiminli in the build quality, but overall in terms of the sound and what it can do, it is a better IEM as compared to modified Shiminli. Sound-wise, then they become very similar, very, very similar. Bass, mids, the way everything is put, they become very similar. However, this has an advantage, which is the price, which is still a good $15 cheaper. So, it's an argument that you really can't win. As for heart mirror, how does a Shiminli compare to heart mirror? Stock to stock heart mirror, modified to modified heart mirror. I'm really sorry. I don't want to be mean by being so direct and honest, but the heart mirror is a better IEM. What about the Reechos? I'm going to leave that the Blonds for last. What about the Reechos? Reecho SG01, it's a better IEM. It is modified, better IEM. Modified versus better IEM. SG01, and I'm sorry once again, Tangzu, SG01 is a superior IEM. Maybe, the idea of this was supposed to be a more fun listening IEM with V-type signature. Same thing goes for the Reecho. They've just done it better, I'm sorry. Build quality is there, price, you can get these things for about the same value, about $40. Build quality is excellent, accessories are excellent, it's a better IEM. Finally, Blon 03, non-modified and modified versus the Shimin Li. And I'm really sorry to say this again, but the Blon is better. The Blon has got more correct tonality, more correct timbre, and modified the block oxygen. I'm going to be very bold in what I'm going to say now. The block oxygen is the best IEM out of all of these. Period. It is the best sounding out of all of these IEMs that I have in front of me. Undeniably. Like I said, it's an Olina. It's basically an Olina. That's it. It sounds tremendous, the block oxygen. Tremendous. So yeah, I think this basically wraps it up. And this kind of, to an extent, confirms what I've said already a few times before, which is the wheel has been invented, my friends. And depending on what is your target market that you want to hit, you have to make sure that you do something which is genuinely going to stand out. The same way that Moonjob, when they came out with the Chew, I'm sure they did their homework and they knew that if that thing was priced at $30, forget it. It'd be game over. It wouldn't have been as successful. They knew that for that to be successful, they could not exceed the $20 price bracket. It had to be at $20. And they knew that at $20 they could offer a signature like its bigger brothers. Corners had to be cut. Yes, the packaging is very basic. Yes, it's got a fixed cable. But they did it. They did their homework. KZ, we already know what KZ is about, and especially these latest models that KZ is launching. You can definitely see that they are improving. Yes, the packaging is basic. Packaging of KZ compared to the packaging of Tangzu, come on, it's a joke. Accessories, forget that as well. IMs, they're well built. It's not expensive material, but they're well built. They look half decent. The truth and what matters is, yes, they play well. So that's that. Okay, and I guess that basically covers it. I mean, Tangzu knew that they were going to have a hard time when they launched the Shiminli, because the price that they wanted to implement and the market that they were facing is a very, very competitive market, highly competitive market. And yeah, I mean, it's a meritable effort. They offered, they are offering a very well built product, which does sound good. It does, but for a person that owns a Reecho, it doesn't make sense to go buy this. For a person that owns a Blon, it doesn't make sense to go buy this. A heart mirror, the same thing. And if you're on the market to buy, from the get go, already, I mean, like I just said, Reecho is better, or HE sound is better, Blon is better. The KZs, they especially the Ultra is better. It really only outright beats, the Tanchjim Ola, and the Chew, sound wise, stock format, no, the Chew is better. Modified, yeah, okay, you could say that this is better, but it's more expensive than the Chew. The Chew's got that price going for it. Anyway, guys, this has been a really, really long review, but I really wanted to present the Tangzu and position it properly, and by no means what I'm saying about it is with the intention of bringing it down or throwing it down. No, it is a good IM, it's well built, it sounds good, I'm sure people will enjoy it. But for those which own some of what is in front of you, it doesn't make sense. If you are on the market to buy and you have those 30, 35, maybe $40 to spend, then yeah, try out, experiment, listen carefully, and then decide. Don't just jump the gun and buy the Shiminli because it's the latest cookie in the jar. No, go and check out what's out there. It doesn't matter if it's 20, 30, 40, $50. It's cash that you had to work to get it. So spend it wisely, be smart. Don't just throw away the money. If you want to throw it away, throw it at me. Throw it my way. I won't mind. Anyway, guys, like I said, if you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe. Questions, ask. Any other comparisons you would like me to do, please let me know. And yeah, I'll see you soon again. Take care. Bye-bye.